I will say, just a warning, this recipe requires a little bit of patience because it's kind of messy and it's kind of sticky, but it's worth it. And I promise it's not that hard. Hey everyone, I'm Mia. Welcome back to yet another episode of Recipe Drop. And today we're making ranchy pepperoni pizza pockets. And to make it really easy for you, we're using store-bought pizza dough. And then we're also gonna make a simple, really delicious marinara sauce. Let's get started. So first, it's really important that the pizza dough is at room temperature because you're gonna wanna store it in the fridge after you buy it. So let this come to room temperature while you make the sauce. And to make the marinara sauce, I have a medium-sized skillet. And I'm gonna start by just sauteing some onion and garlic in 1/4 cup of olive oil. Actually, one thing that we can do while the oil is heating up is crush the whole tomatoes. So here I have 1 can, 28 ounces of whole tomatoes. I like using whole because then you get some bigger pieces of tomato and you also get the seeds, which I like, especially in like a yummy marinara sauce. It's up to you how much you want to smush the tomatoes. I think I'm gonna smush them like as much as I can probably. Into the skillet with oil, I'm gonna add 1/2 of a chopped white onion. So I'm sauteing this on medium-low just until they're softened. And then I'm gonna add the garlic. They're starting to look a little translucent. This is when you wanna add the garlic. This is a lot of garlic. It's 5 cloves of chopped garlic, and this is really amplify that garlic flavor. You can't have too much garlic, I think, in a marinara. I'm not gonna cook the garlic for too long, probably about 30 seconds to a minute until it becomes really fragrant and aromatic, because you really don't want to brown the garlic because then it's going to start to taste a little bit bitter and have kind of negative effect on the overall flavor of the sauce. I'm actually going to add a teaspoon of red pepper chili flakes. This isn't enough to make it really spicy, but it gives it just a little bit of kick. And I'm also adding 1/2 teaspoon of dried oregano. Sauteing the spices with the onion and the garlic, or just in general before you add all the liquids and stuff, is going to help to get those spices to shine through. All right, now time for the tomato sauce. And pour it in carefully because otherwise it's gonna splatter. And now I'm just mixing all the onion and the garlic and the spices into the tomato sauce. To season, I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. And then I'm also gonna add a little bit of pepper. Also adding about a tablespoon of chopped parsley. Mix this in. And I'm also gonna add a stem of basil, which I'm just gonna let kind of simmer in the sauce. I don't want it to taste really basil-y, I just want it to have like a slight aroma. This is gonna cook for about 25 minutes. I'm gonna let it simmer until all the flavors have kind of melded together and we have a really yummy tomato sauce. This is a massive lid, probably too big, definitely too big. But I'm gonna cover it as well. You don't have to, but this just keeps some of the moisture in the sauce from evaporating. While the sauce finishes cooking, we're gonna make the ranch butter. So have a small saucepan. You could also just do it in the microwave if that's easier. Because I'm gonna brush on the ranch butter before they bake and after, I am doing 1/2 cup of unsalted butter. And then I'm gonna melt this down over medium heat. And then I'm gonna add the ranch powder once it's melted. Okay, so the butter is melted. Now I'm gonna add in 3 tablespoons of ranch powder. It might seem like a lot, but I really want them to taste really ranchy. And I really wanted to add ranch powder to these because I feel like ranch and pizza are just like obviously a classic flavor combination. The marinara sauce still has about 5 minutes left, so I was thinking I would just start rolling out the pizza dough. So this pizza dough isn't too sticky, it's just a little bit tacky, which is perfect because that means that I don't really have to add a lot of flour. And when I roll it out, I want it to keep its shape rather than kind of shrink back in. I'm gonna roll this out into a large rectangle. I am gonna actually add a little bit of flour just to the top so that the rolling pin doesn't stick. And if you feel like the dough is still kind of tough and wants to shrink back on itself, just let it rest for another 5 or 10 minutes. I really like using store-bought pizza dough. I think there's no shame in trying to make your recipes and your dinners a little bit easier when you can. I'm just rolling it into as large of a rectangle as I can because I want the pizza pockets to be more like a rectangle rather than a square. Okay, so now when you have your rectangle, we're gonna cut this into 8 pieces. think this is a ravioli cutter, but it works just as well. It automatically is gonna shrink up a little bit when you cut it, but that's fine. Cool. And what we can do too is assemble them right here, which makes it really easy. You can just add all the toppings at once and then transfer them to a baking sheet. All right, so you're gonna need either one baking sheet. So you're gonna need either one baking sheet if you want to do them in batches, or two if you want to bake them at once. I'm gonna do them in batches, I think, and just grease the baking sheets with a little bit of oil, unless you want to use parchment paper. But I find that not using parchment paper helps to get them a little bit crispier and browner on the bottom. All right, I think it's time to start assembling. It's actually not too often that I cook sauce in a fry pan, especially a cast iron, because sometimes tomatoes or anything acidic has this weird reaction with cast irons that can make it taste a little bit metallic. However, this one from Stove, it's the 10-inch, I believe. It's actually enameled, which prevents any weird reaction from happening when you cook acids. And what I also really love about it is that it is oven proof, so you could go from stove to oven to table, because it's also really pretty and comes in a few different colors: a gray, a sesame, this is the turmeric, probably my favorite one. Okay, so we have the marinara sauce, and then to assemble I also have 8 ounces of shredded low moisture mozzarella cheese, and also some pepperoni. If you want, you can roll these out a little bit more if you feel like they've shrunk, because these have kind of shrunk a lot, but I might just stretch them out a little more. I'm gonna add a little bit of sauce right to the middle. Make sure to not spread it out, because if sauce gets out on the border here, it's gonna be really hard to actually crimp them together. And even if you think you've crimped them well enough, sauce is still gonna leak out. And we're not gonna use all this at marinara. We're gonna save a decent amount of it for serving later, so you can dip the pizza pockets into the marinara. So I decided to make pizza pockets because I was thinking about a recipe that is a little bit nostalgic, and although I didn't eat them a ton, it's one of those things that we got served in school as a snack, and also in college I feel like I would eat them a lot, like late night. That and those like the mini ones too. I like a lot of sauce in mine, so I'm gonna try to squeeze in as much as I can. Now I'm gonna top them with a little bit of cheese. When I think of classic middle school snacks, I think of pizza pockets, I think of Uncrustables, I feel like randomly we used to get these like banana or lemon muffins. I think of a lot of like bad school tacos, honestly. Pizza pockets were by far the best snack. And I'm gonna add a few slices of pepperoni to each as well. About 3 or 4. I'm gonna do 3 instead. So now comes the tricky part. We have to fold them over while trying to keep as much of the filling inside them as possible. So I'm gonna take one end and I'm gonna stretch it out like this and fold it over. And then kind of immediately go in with a fork and crimp it together. Unfortunately, it is leaking a little bit, but that's just bound to happen. If you're worried about it opening, you could also fold the edge over like this and crimp it again. Carefully, it's gonna be a little sticky, so carefully transfer it onto the baking sheet, and then go in and recrimp if it opens up. So okay, now I'm gonna go in and brush the tops of these with a generous amount of the ranch butter. Remember, we're also gonna add more after they're done baking. These are gonna bake at 425 degrees Fahrenheit for about 12 to 15 minutes until they're nice and golden brown and the cheese is super melted. So let's go over to the oven. Oh, I'm so excited. Pizza pockets. So I already assembled a few of them, but I found that the easiest way to assemble these without the sauce kind of leaking through is to fold it over and then pinch the sides together with your hands or with your fingers, and then fold over the ends like this. Gonna give them a little tuck. And then before you flip it upside down and transfer it to the baking sheet, just make sure that this doesn't happen, because you can see it's kind of opening here. Just go in and really make sure that the edges are completely sealed and they're not gonna pop back open. Gently pick it up, flip it over, and then we can go in and kind of seal the ends shut again. And then we get like a little nice fork pattern too. And there we have like a pretty nice pizza pocket shape at least. Make sure that you're getting a decent amount of the ranch on the brush too. And like I said, we're not gonna use all of it now. We're gonna save some of it to brush on after they're done baking. So I love a lot of dipping sauces, and because these are ranchy pizza pockets, I feel like it's only appropriate to also have a little side of ranch as well. It's really quick, really easy, very simple. So I have half a cup of sour cream, and then I have a little bit of buttermilk as well. I have 2 tablespoons of ranch powder. So a lot of ranch powder in this recipe. I'm just gonna mix it up, and it's as easy as that. Literally took 2 seconds. You could also just buy store-bought ranch, but I feel like since we're already using ranch powder, you may as well just buy a little extra so you can make homemade ranch sauce as well. So I really like a rustic vibe. So sometimes what I do is I'll take a piece of parchment paper, scrunch it up, and just put it on a baking sheet. And this is how I think I'm gonna serve them today. And then I have this cute little bowl. I'm gonna add some of the marinara sauce, and then I'm gonna put some of the ranch in this bowl as well. I'm gonna put this on a bigger sheet tray actually. Now that it looked fine, but now that I have the bowls on here, it's looking really small. That's better. And then I'm gonna top the marinara sauce with a little bit of basil. They look like little beans? I don't know, like little pillows. They look like pizza pockets. Oh my God, hot, hot, hot. Now I am gonna mix the melted butter and the ranch powder back together, and I'm gonna brush it over the baked pizza pockets. I love how it also gives them a really nice shine too. More ranch flavor, butter, and a shine. To finish them off, I also have a little bit of chopped parsley and chopped basil mixed together. It's about a tablespoon or 2 of each. Kind of depends on how much you wanna use. I'm just gonna sprinkle it over the pizza pockets. Notice there's not that much leakage, which I'm really happy about. Okay, now I'm gonna plate them. I'm really happy with how they came out. This is what I call a pizza pocket. I don't think I used enough oil on this one. There we go. I mean, this looks incredible. Just because I love to have everything a little bit decorated, I'm gonna do a little bit of black pepper on the ranch. And there you have it. You could literally serve it like this on the baking sheet. I don't think anybody's gonna have any complaints. I think it looks really nice and rustic. And these would be perfect to make ahead to pack in your kids' lunchboxes for school. You can make these as like a game snack. It's just like a great like appetizer, I think, or dinner. I'm really excited to try one. I really hope we can get a good cheese pull here. Oh, nice. Oh my God, cheese pull, it's gonna break. See how far we can get it. Okay, still pretty good though. Honestly, they taste just like the ones we used to get in school in a really good way. Definitely better though, but wow. If you want the recipe for these, you can find it in the description link below. Please let me know if you try them. I would love to hear what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.